Welcome to this Moho tutorial. Moho is a powerful 2D animation software that helps artists bring characters, stories, and ideas to life. Whether you're creating simple motion graphics or complex character animations, Moho gives you the tools to do it efficiently and creatively. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand the main parts of the Moho interface, layers, tools, and the timeline, so you can start animating confidently. Let's dive in and explore how Moho makes animation both approachable and professional. When you start Moho, you'll find the main workspace divided into three key areas. Layers panel on the left. This is where you organize your artwork, characters, and backgrounds. Think of it like stacking sheets of paper. The top layer shows above the ones below. Tools panel on the right. Here you'll find drawing tools, transform tools, and animation helpers. Each tool has its own icon, and we'll explore the most important one step by step. Timeline at the bottom. This is where your animation comes to life. You'll use it to control frames, keyframes, and motion over time. Together, these three areas, layers, tools, and the timeline, form the foundation of Moho. Once you understand how they connect, you'll be ready to start animating with confidence. Let's start by creating a vector layer. First, go to the Layers panel on the left. Second, click the drop-down menu and select New Vector Layer. This will give us a blank layer where we can draw directly inside Moho. Now, let's draw a simple cycle shape. Select the Circle tool from the Tools panel. Click and drag on the workspace to draw the wheel. If you're drawing without a tracing image, make sure you have Autofill turned on. Autofill automatically fills your vector shapes with color as you draw them, so you don't end up with empty outlines. Now, when you draw circles, rectangles, or any vector shapes, they'll be filled instantly. This makes it much easier to see your design clearly while you work. Now that we've drawn our cycle, let's look at how to edit shapes. To delete a shape, select the shape with the Select tool. Then simply press the Delete key on your keyboard. The shape will be removed from the vector layer. To change a shape's color, select the shape, then look at the Style window, usually on the right. Here you can change the fill color and stroke color. Just click the color box and choose a new shade. To change the shape of the shape, use the Transform Points tool. This lets you grab individual points on the shape and move them around. You can stretch, bend, or reshape the object while keeping it editable. These three steps, deleting, recoloring, and reshaping, give you full control over your vector artwork. The Bezier tool in Moho. Purpose. The Bezier tool lets you draw vector shapes with curved lines, giving you control over both the direction and smoothness of the curve. How it works. 1. Select the Bezier tool from the Tools panel. 2. Click to place points on the workspace. 3. Drag the mouse as you click to create handles. These handles control the curve's angle and length. Freehand tools in Moho. Purpose. The freehand tools let you draw directly on the workspace with a natural, sketch-like feel. Instead of placing points one by one, like with the Bezier tool, you can create lines and shapes in a more fluid, hand-drawn style. Magnet tool in Moho. Key what it does. The Magnet tool lets you click and drag over vector points to deform them smoothly. Instead of selecting one point at a time, you can influence multiple points at once. It works like a soft brush that attracts or repels points depending on how you drag. Delete Edge tool. Key what it does. The Delete Edge tool removes selected edges, segments of a shape's outline, from a vector layer. When you delete an edge, the fill associated with that shape may also disappear, because without a closed outline, Moho cannot maintain the fill. If you only want to hide the stroke without breaking the fill, use the Hide Edge tool instead. Scatterbrush tool in Moho. What it does. The Scatterbrush tool lets you paint with repeated shapes or particles across your vector layer. Instead of a single stroke, it scatters multiple copies of a chosen shape along the path you draw. This is great for creating effects like grass, leaves, stars, or textured patterns without manually placing each element. How to use it. 1. Select the Scatterbrush tool from the Tools panel. 2. In the Tool Options bar, top of the workspace, choose the shape you want to scatter, e.g., circles, stars, or custom shapes. Adjust settings such as spacing, How close or far apart the scattered shapes appear. Size variation, whether the shapes are uniform or randomly sized. Rotation variation adds randomness to the angle of each scattered shape. 4. Click and drag on the workspace to paint. Moho will scatter the shapes along your stroke. The Add Point tool lets you insert new points into an existing vector shape. These points give you more control over the shape, allowing you to bend, stretch, or refine it with precision. It's especially useful when you want to add detail or adjust curves without redrawing the whole shape. Here, how to use it. 1. Select the Add Point tool from the Tools panel. 2. Click directly on the edge, outline, of a vector shape where you want to add a point. 3. A new point will appear, connected to the existing outline. 4. Switch to the Transform Points tool to move or reshape the new point. 5. Repeat as needed to refine your shape. More points mean more flexibility, but don't overdo it or the shape becomes harder to manage. Rubber Eraser tool in Moho. Key what it does. The rubber tool erases parts of vector lines or shapes. It works directly on strokes drawn with the freehand tool, Bezier tool, or other vector drawing tools. Unlike deleting an entire shape, the rubber tool lets you remove only the section you drag across. Now let's move to image layers. Image layers are used when you want to import artwork, like photos, textures, or character parts, into your Moho project. Unlike vector layers, you don't draw directly here. Instead, you bring in existing images to animate or combine with your vector work. Here's how to add one. 1. Go to the Layers panel on the left. 2. Click the drop-down menu and select New Image Layer. 3. A file browser will open. Choose the image you want to import, for example, a background or a character sketch. 4. Once added, you can move, scale, or rotate the image using the Transform Layer tool. Image layers are perfect for mixing hand-drawn art, photos, or textures with your vector animation. They give you flexibility to combine different styles in one project. Group versus group with selection in Moho. Key group. What it does, creates a new empty group layer in your Layers panel. How to use it. 1. Go to the Layers panel. 2. Click the drop-down and select New Group. 3. A new group appears. You can then drag any existing layers into it. Purpose. Helps you organize your project by keeping related layers together, e.g., all parts of a character or background elements. Key group with selection. What it does, instantly creates a group layer containing the layers you've already selected. How to use it. 1. Select multiple layers in the Layers panel, e.g., both wheels and the frame of your cycle. 2. Right-click and choose Group with selection. 3. Moho will automatically place those layers inside a new group. Purpose. Saves time. Instead of creating an empty group and dragging layers in, you group them in one step. Bone layers. Convert and add bones. Now let's explore bone layers. Bones are used to rig characters or objects so they can move smoothly without redrawing every frame. 1. Creating a bone layer. Go to the Layers panel. Click the drop-down menu and select New Bone Layer. This creates a special layer designed for rigging. 2. Converting existing artwork. If you already have a vector layer, like our cycle drawing, you can drag it into the bone layer. This converts the artwork so it can be controlled by bones. Add bones in Moho. Each new bone you create is automatically parented to the previous bone. This means the first bone you add becomes the root bone. The second bone is connected to the first, the third to the second, and so on. Together, they form a chain of bones, just like a skeleton. Because of this automatic parenting, when you move or rotate a parent bone, all of its child bones will follow. This is what makes rigging so powerful. You can control complex shapes or characters with just a few bone movements. If you want a bone that isn't parented, you can hold down the Alt key, Option on Mac, while adding it. That way, the new bone will stand alone instead of joining the chain. Next tutorial preview, adding and binding bones. In our next tutorial, we'll go deeper into bones. You've already seen how to add bones and how they automatically parent to each other. Now we'll explore Adding bones with precision. Now that you've reached this far, I have a small favor to ask. Backhand index pointing right, please subscribe, share, and like this video so you don't miss the next tutorials. I'll be creating high-quality characters in each upcoming tutorial, and they'll be available for free so you can use them in your own animations. Thank you for your support. It helps me keep producing clear, step-by-step guides for you. See you in the next lesson. In this tutorial, I will show you how to draw a shape by using freehand. Let's start by importing a reference image. Now go to Layers panel. Click Image, select your image, select Open. Add New Vector Layer, and then go to Tools and select Freehand. Ensure that the autofill mode is turned off so the reference image remains visible. Click on the Style panel if you'd like to choose a brush. This step is optional. It's not essential, and it really depends on the style of animation you're aiming to create. Start drawing the hair around. Don't worry if you make any mistake, as we can correct any mistake by using transformation tools. Then add New Vector Layer and draw the face. Click on the Transformation tool to adjust the points. Add another vector layer and continue using freehand to draw the top. Click on the Transformation tool to adjust the points. If you accidentally delete points, don't worry, you can easily restore the shape. Go to the Fill menu. Select the Create Shape tool. Click on the shape you were drawing. At the top, click Create Shape to rebuild it. Since there are no other elements left to draw on this shirt, we can move on to coloring. Go to the Fill menu and select Fill. Open the Style tab. Choose a color that matches the original reference image. Then rename the shape by double-clicking the layer. Add New Vector Layer and draw the right arm. Then rename the shape by double-clicking the layer. For the left arm, just duplicate the layer by right-click and select Duplicate Layer. Add a new vector layer specifically for the pelvis. On this layer, draw the pelvis shape carefully, keeping proportions consistent with your reference. Once the pelvis is complete, continue by drawing the legs on separate layers. Rename the layer and duplicate for the other leg. Then rename the shape by double-clicking the layer. Add a new vector layer for the neck. Draw the neck outline on this layer. Drag the neck layer behind the shirt layer so it sits correctly in the stacking order. Go to the Fill menu and select the Create Shape tool. Click on the neck outline to generate the shape. Finally, apply color to the shape to match your reference image. Now go back to all layers and create shape and apply color. Add a new vector layer for the shoe. On this layer, draw the shoe outline and shape. Once the shoe is complete, duplicate the shoe layer. Rename the duplicated layer appropriately, for example, left shoe and right shoe, to keep your rig organized. Add a new vector layer for the hand. On this layer, draw the hand outline and shape. Once the first hand is complete, duplicate the hand layer. Rename the duplicated layer appropriately, for example, left hand and right hand, to keep your rig organized. Add a new vector layer for the eyes and continue drawing. I will now leave the video play as we have been repeating the same process from the beginning. Now let us go to the next lesson, how to add bones to the character. In this tutorial, we'll show you step by step how to add bones to your character in Moho, so you can start animating with clean, natural movement. Step 1. Group your layers. In the Layers panel, click the first layer of your character. Hold Shift and click the last layer to highlight all layers. Right-click and choose Group with Selection. Rename this group to something clear like Woman in Blue. Click OK. Now that we've grouped all the character layers, the next step is to convert that group into a bone layer. Step 2. Convert grouped layers to bone. Right-click on the grouped layer, the one you named Woman in Blue. From the menu, select Convert to Bone. A new bone layer will appear, and your grouped artwork will automatically become a child of this bone layer. Step 3. Add bones. Select the bone layer. Choose the Add Bone tool. Click where the joint should be, in my case the hip. Drag to set the bone length and release to place the bone. Continue adding bones for each body part. Step 3A. Understanding bone parenting. Red bone highlight. The currently selected bone is red. Any new bone you add will be linked to this one. This creates a chain. Example, pelvis bone is linked with the main bone, then chest bone is linked with pelvis. This is what we call parenting bones. Continue adding bones for each body part. Example, chest bone, torso, neck bone if you wish, and head bone. Step 3B. Creating independent bones. If you don't want the new bone to be linked, click on an empty space in the workspace to deselect the red bone. Then add the new bone. It will be independent, not parented. For example, if I forget to deselect the head bone and then add a new bone for the arm, that arm bone will automatically be linked to the head. This means whenever I move the head, the arm will also move with it. To avoid this, I'll switch to the Select Bone tool, click on an empty space to deselect the head bone, and then select the chest bone before adding new bones for the arm and hand. Let me first delete the bones I have added. Now, switch to the Select Bone tool, click on the chest bone, and then add new bones for the arm. Now when we click Parent, we can see the bones are linked to the chest bone. If at any point you notice that your skeleton isn't linked correctly, you don't need to delete anything. Click the wrong linked bone, then click the arrow goes to the wrong bone to deselect, and then click the new bone you want to link. Select the chest bone once more. Add the arm bones to it. Switch to the main root bone. Attach the thigh bones, leg bones, and finally the shoe bones. Select the main root bone once more. Add the thigh bones, leg bones, and finally the shoe bones for the other side. Here we have finished adding all the bones. You will notice that we have only added 2 bones for the upper arm and lower arm. This is because we did not draw hands separate, but you can go on and add 2 additional bones to it, one each part of the lower arm dot. So use your skill we have learned. First, click on the Bone Selected tool and select the lower arm bone so that we can link the hand bone to the lower arm. Do the same on the other side. Bonus tip: correcting bone size in Moho. Sometimes you might accidentally add a bone that's the wrong size. To fix this, select the Transform Bone tool. Click on the bone anchor you want to adjust. Hold down Control on your keyboard while dragging to resize the bone to the correct proportion. Preventing bone size issues in Moho. To avoid adding bones of inconsistent sizes in the future, you can enable the grid. Go to View, Grid, Show Grid, and then adjust the grid size in the grid settings. Set the grid size to the highest possible value for clearer alignment. Once the grid is enabled and set to a larger size, you'll notice that any new bones you add are automatically resized to match the same size. This keeps your rig consistent and saves time. Deleting a bone in Moho. Select the Bone Selection tool. Click on the bone you want to delete. Press the Delete key on your keyboard. Congratulations! You've now added all the essential bones. You're ready to bind them to your artwork and begin the rigging process. Binding bones to your character in Moho. In this step, we'll apply different binding methods to connect the bones with the character. For most of the rig, I'll be using the Use Selected Bone for Flexi binding. This ensures that each part of the character flexibly follows the movement of its assigned bone. For the hands, I'll switch to point binding. This method gives more precise control, ensuring the hand points stay locked exactly to the chosen bone. Binding layers with Flexi binding in Moho. Step 1. Check your skeleton. Make sure every bone in your rig is parented correctly. A clean hierarchy ensures smooth deformation later. Step 2. Select the main bone layer. Go to your main bone layer in the Layers panel. This is the layer that controls the skeleton for your character. Step 3. Choose the layer to bind. Click on the layer you want to bind. I will start with eyebrow and move my way down. Step 4. Apply Flexi binding. Select the target bone. This is the head bone. With the target layer selected, go to Bone, then select Use Selected Bone for Flexi binding. Step 5. Test and adjust. Move the bones to check how the eyebrow reacts. You can see when I move the head bone, the eyebrows also move. This shows the bind was successful. If deformation looks odd, adjust bone strength. Select the bone and go to Bone Strength or click S in your keyboard, then adjust the setting. Reduce them to about 0.20. Using the same method, I'll continue with the hair. Remember, each time you bind a new layer, test the bones to make sure the deformation looks natural. When you see the bone is red, it means it is already selected, so just go to Bone and select Use Selected Bones for Flexi binding. Just skip the process of select the bone again. I will move to Eyes layered because the head bone is already red. That means it is already selected. So I will now go to Bone and select Use Selected Bones for Flexi binding. Now I'm moving to the mouth layer. Because it's a grouped layer, I'll need to use a different binding method. This time, I'll use the Bind Layer method. First, click the Group layer, then go to the Layer Binding tool. Click, and next, click the bone you want to bind the group to. When you see the bone turn bold and red, this means the binding is successful. This locks the entire mouth group to that bone. With the face, because there's a nose on it, we'll need to use another method, point binding. Click the face layer, then go to the Bone Selection tool. Click, then hold Shift and click the Bind Points tool. Make sure lasso mode is ticked. Then go around the face to select all the points you want to bind. Finally, click Bind Points. This attaches the selected points of the face to the chosen bone, giving you precise control over how the nose and face deform. This segment makes the distinction clear. Flexi binding smooth influence across multiple bones. Layer binding locks a whole layer or group to one bone. Point binding binds specific points for precise control, ideal for complex shapes like a face with a nose. While I'm doing this, you can start practicing with your own character. The character pack is available for free to download in the comment box below. I will now bind the following using Flexi binding method. The pelvis, bind to the main bone. The upper arm and the lower arm, I will still use the Flexi binding. When it comes to the hand, I will need to revert to the point binding method, which I have already explained. Repeat the process to the other hand. With the top, I will also use point binding method because I need to divide the top into two parts, the top half and the bottom half. So some points will bind the top half and the rest the bottom half. I will now fast forward the video because I will be using Flexi binding for the legs. Once you've finished binding every part of the character's body, you can click the Manipulate Bones tool to test the rig. It's normal for some parts to be misaligned at this stage. Don't worry, this is exactly where smart bones come in handy. In the next part of this tutorial, I'll show you how to use smart bones to correct character movement and refine your animation. Before using smart bones to correct the movement, I'm going to add a new vector layer. This will act as a guide to help me see exactly where the bones meet. With this guide in place, it's much easier to spot misalignments and plan smart bone corrections. Now, click the Bone Transformation tool. With this tool, you can adjust the anchor point of a bone. If you want to move the whole bone instead of just scaling, hold Control and click the point. This lets you reposition the bone. Select the anchor point to either scale the bone up or down. This helps fine-tune the proportions of your rig. Scaling and moving bones with the Bone Transformation tool gives you precise control over your rig structure, making it easier to correct misalignments before applying smart bones. If you do not want to do this, then go to the next step, Smart Bone. In this tutorial, I'll show you how to use smart bones. Let's start with the right leg. First, click the Bone Selection tool and select the leg bone. Next, go to the Actions panel and click New Action. You'll notice the timeline changes color. This means you're now inside a smart bone action. If the timeline is blue, you have created the correct action. If it is pink, you are not in the right action panel. So delete the action by click Delete and deselect all bones by clicking on the empty canvas and start again. Move the cursor to any timeline. I will use frame 48 in this scenario. Inside the smart bone action, rotate the leg bone and adjust the points or artwork to correct any misalignment. Then, use the Transform Points tool. This lets you move, scale, or rotate the points to refine the shape. Remember, we only move bones with the Bone Transformation tool. I am demonstrating various methods of smart bone example, moving the entire bone, and sometimes use the Transform Point tool to move the point to match the rigging. If you need to adjust the points from another part of the body, first click the layer you want to adjust. Use the Transform Point tool to move the point to match the rigging. Let's talk about our hiding character parts using patches. This is a common rigging trick when you want to clean up overlapping lines, like forearms or thighs, without redrawing the whole character. I'll break it down step by step so you can adapt it to your workflow and even turn it into a printable guide for future reference. Open the Layers panel and choose the layer you want to hide, for example, for arm right. Next, click the plus symbol, select Patch, and in the menu box choose Forearm Right before clicking OK. The patch will then appear on the canvas. Select the Transform Layer tool and adjust the patch so it covers the line exactly where you want. Return to the Layers panel and locate the patch you just created. Drag the patch layer upward so it sits above the upper arm and forearm layers. You can now see the line has been hidden. Next, you need to bind the patch by using layer binding method we learned before. Make sure you bind this on the same bones layer for arm right. Repeat for the other hand and move to the legs, using the same method. Once done, you can manipulate the character and fix any visible line by either scale or moving the patch. Congratulations! You've made it this far, and I hope you've picked up some useful skills along the way. Now it's time to move on to the exciting part, rigging our character. This is the stage many of you have been waiting for. As we progress, we may need to add extra bones to capture the full range of actions, such as blinking, laughing, turning, and more, so our character feels truly alive. In this tutorial, we'll build a simple walk cycle. By the end of the video, you'll know how to. First, create walk cycles. Second, create jumps action. Third, seated poses. Fourth, adding and use control bones effectively. Fifth, apply bone constraints and angle constraints to refine movement. And last, design reusable actions for faster animation workflows. Begin rigging the character by setting up the key frames. Use frames 6, 12, 18, and 24 to define the main positions of the walk cycle. Once these frames are in place, copy and repeat them to extend the animation for a longer walking duration. Frame 6. Lift the right leg upward. Raise the main bone to move the character slightly up. Frame 12. Spread the legs apart into the passing pose. Move the hand opposite to the moving leg. Lower the character down. Frame 24. Swap the leg and hand positions so the opposite side mirrors the earlier pose. Frame 18. Raise the main bone to move the character up again. Or lift the left leg upward. Check the rigging, and if you are happy, you can copy the keyframes and paste, or use cycle options to repeat the walk cycle. Creating a reusable action. First, copy the keyframes you want to save. Second, open the Bone Tools panel, choose Bone Selection. Third, go to the Actions panel and click New Action. Fourth, give the action a name, for example, walking. Fifth, paste the keyframes into this new action. Sixth, click Main to return to the main timeline. Your action is now saved and ready to be reused. Now I will create another action for jumping and then seating. This should now be easier for you, and I do not need to explain, therefore, I will let this video runs. Once I have finished setting up these actions, we will move on to bone constraint. Angle constraints are used to limit how far a bone can rotate, preventing unnatural or unwanted movement. In Moho, an angle constraint sets a minimum and maximum rotation range for a bone. This ensures that bones, such as arms, legs, or joints, don't bend backwards or rotate beyond realistic limit. How to apply in Moho. First, select the bone you want to constrain. 2. Go to the Bone Constraints panel. 3. Enable Angle Constraint. 4. Set the minimum and maximum angles for the bones you need to adjust. I am happy with the angle here, so I will not change. 5. Test by moving the rig. Notice the bone stops at the limits. You can see the character's leg do not go over the constraint's angles. Why it's important. Keeps animations realistic. Prevents arms, legs, or other parts from bending unnaturally. Saves time. Reduces the need to constantly fix poses frame by frame. Improves control. Gives animators confidence that the rig will behave consistently. Reusable setups. Once constraints are applied, they remain in place for future actions and cycles. Now let us add a target bone. A target bone is a special bone used in rigging to control the direction or position of another bone, often in inverse kinematics, IK setups. Setting up a target bone. Select the Bone Selection tool. Deselect all bones by clicking in any empty space. Click Add Bone to create a new bone. Rename the bone to any name you prefer, for example, LB for left bone, RB for right bone. Reduce the bone strength to 0 so it doesn't influence the mesh directly. You now have target bones ready to use as controllers for your rig. Assigning a target bone. First, click the bone you want to assign a target to. Second, open the Bone Constraints panel. Third, in the Target Bone option, select the target bone you created earlier, for this is LB. Fourth, adjust the stretch value to control how far the bone can extend. For example, set the stretch to 3 for a longer reach. You can see additional circle has been added to the joint that shows the target is successfully. Move the timeline forward to play through the animation. Watch how the character moves with the target bone applied. You'll notice the motion looks more natural and controlled. Compare this to the same character without a target bone. The difference is clear. With a target bone, smoother, realistic limb movement. You can also enable independent angles for the shoe bones. This allows each shoe to rotate and act differently during the rigging process, rather than being locked to the same movement as the leg. By doing this, the shoes will behave more naturally, for example, tilting or adjusting independently as the character walks, jumps, or leans. I will demonstrate a quick walk cycle with the target bone, and you can see how naturally the character walks.
Hey YouTubers! Welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial, we're diving into how to use switch layers in Moho to give your characters expressive eye movements and emotions. This technique allows your character to blink, wink, smile, look sad, or shift their gaze in any direction like left, right, or down. For this video, we'll focus on creating 3 eye switch states. Wink. Look left. Look straight. Now let's prepare the eye layers for switching. Go to your character's eye layers and duplicate each one. This will allow us to create alternate eye states. For example, rename one duplicated layer to left, for when the character looks to the left, rename the other to close, for the blink or wink state. Repeat this process for both the left and right eyes and make sure each layer is clearly named so it's easy to manage within the switch layer. After duplicating the eye layers, it's time to customize them. Select one of the duplicated layers and adjust the pupil or iris position to make it appear as though the character is looking to the left. You can use the Transform Points tool to shift the elements or reshape them slightly for more expression. If you'd like to add more eye expressions, go ahead and duplicate the existing layers, just like we did earlier. Once you're happy with how it looks, repeat the process for the other eye, making sure the gaze direction matches so the character's expression feels natural and consistent. Once you've created the new variations, highlight the relevant layers for one eye, either left or right, and group them using selection. Name each layer before grouping, for example, eye left wink, eye left look right, so your switch layer stays organized and intuitive when animating. Great!
Convert group to switch.
Let's move into animation mode and test the switch layer in action. 1. Navigate to frame 24 on the timeline. 2. Select the switch layer you created, either left or right eye. 3. In the Layers panel, right-click on the eye expression you want, e.g. wink, look left, or look straight. 4. Choose Set a Switch to apply that variation at frame 24. Play back your animation and watch how the eye changes to that state on cue. If it's working smoothly, you're ready to start building more expressive sequences across your timeline. Thanks for watching. I hope this video helped you out. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to hit that button and enable notifications so you never miss future tips and tricks. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next in Moho, whether it's advanced rigging, smart bones, facial expressions, or full character animation. I'd love to hear your ideas and turn them into future tutorials.
Welcome to another tutorial from Moho Simple Rig, Flow, where animation meets clarity, creativity, and community.
What if I told you that you could design a clean, professional-looking character in under 5 minutes, without needing to draw a single line? Today, I'll walk you through a simple trick using free tools that gets the job done fast. Step 1. Install Inkscape, free. Head over to the official Inkscape website and download the software. It's completely free and works on Windows, Mac, and Linux. Once installed, open it up and get ready for the magic. Step 2. Generate a character with AI. Use any free AI image generator like Copilot, ChatGPT with image tools, or Google's ImageFX. Type in a prompt describing your ideal character, example, friendly cartoon teacher, or futuristic robot with a cape. Download the image once you're happy with the result. Step 3. Import and trace in Inkscape. Open Inkscape and import the character image you just downloaded. With the image selected, go to Path, Trace Bitmap. Choose the black and white option for a clean vector outline. Click OK, and voila, your character is now a scalable vector you can edit, animate, or export. Step 4. Use a difference to cut off part of the image. Now that your character is traced and editable, let's remove any unwanted part using a simple shape and the Path Difference tool. Here's how. Create a new shape, example, a rectangle or circle, using the shape tools in the left toolbar. Position the shape so it covers the part of the character you want to cut off. 1. Select the Paint Bucket tool from the left toolbar. 2. Click inside each closed shape or section of your character to fill it with color. 3. You can adjust the fill color from the palette or use custom colors from the Fill and Stroke panel. Take your time to color each part, clothing, skin, accessories, until your character looks just right. Step 6. Export to Moho as a PSD file. Once your character is fully colored. 1. Go to File, Save As. 2. Choose Photoshop.psd as the file format. 3. Save your file with a clear name. 4. Open Moho and import the PSD file to start rigging or animating. Import each layer separately using script. If you're using Moho and prefer to import each layer individually for better control and animation flexibility, you can do this using a custom script. Note, if you're not familiar with this method, I've covered it in detail in another video. How to import PSD files into Moho using script. Make sure to check it out before continuing. Once imported, you'll be able to rig, animate, and fine-tune each layer with precision, perfect for modular character workflows. And that's it. You've now imported your PSD layers into Moho, ready for animation. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other tutorials on character creation, rigging, and multilingual resource design. Got questions or need help with your own workflow? Drop a comment, I'm here to support you. All links and resources mentioned are available in the description box below. Make sure to subscribe to my other channel, Moho Simple Rig, where I'll be bringing every character from this series to life through animation.
Right, YouTubers, welcome to another tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how to export this image into Moho, but we are going to export this into SVG into separate layers. Usually when you try to export NPG image or files or anything from Inkscape to Moho, everything is going to be on the same layers. But today I'm going to show you the workaround how to export this into separate layers. So first things first, so after you have finished your drawings or your drawing, what you need to do, just go to layers here on the left hand top, and then layers and object. So everything you see from here, it is these layers here. This is the time to export this. So we are going to export it into plain SVG. So you click here, you go here, select where you want to save this. In my case, it's going to be the place where I can easily find it. This time I will do it in my document, and I will write boy SVG. Save type as plain SVG. You can use Inkscape, but I'm just going to save it as plain SVG. So just follow plain SVG. Okay. So we have saved it into plain SVG. Now, if I go to Moho, I'm just going to wait for Moho to open. Right, new. Now, if I import it, if I go to File, and then Import, and then Vector SVG Files, now go to my document, and this is the file which we have saved as SVG. However, when we import here, look what happens. Everything is going to be on the same layers. All right, so let's delete this. Now I've got only 2 layers here and delete it. So next step is very important. You just want to go to Moho script. This website will be in the description box, mohoscript.com/script-/ss, and then space SVG import. Okay. Now we are going to download the script. Here there are a lot of information. Okay. So what we're going to download, I suggest you click install as menu script. Okay. Just go all the way down here. Now I'm going to type something which I can remember. Okay. For example, Inkscape layers. Okay. And then I click download. Okay. So you can see that it did work this time. Okay. So I'm just going to go to the file which I have downloaded, which is here, as you can see, and unzip this. So extract all the way, and we get a new file with the subfolders you can see from here. Okay. Now go to Moho, and then go to script. Install script. You can use this. Select script folder, go to download, and then select Moho. Now, if you click here, without selecting the other folder, you will say that this folder is empty. So for example, the folder is missing files, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So go back, install script, select script folders, click this to get these two files. Now you can select installation complete and OK. So you can restart or you don't need to restart. I'm using Moho 13.5. So if I go to script now, I can see my folder is there now. Okay, so we did write like Inkscape. Okay, it's not in here. I'm going to restart this. So I'm going to close, save. No, don't save anything from here. Don't save anything. I'm going to open Moho again. Okay, new. Okay, so now go to script and then Inkscape script, SVG import. Now select the file where you have saved it, which is boy SVG. Now this time I wanna do not use consolidate layers because we have renamed them, and let's see if we use this way, then we will have everything renamed. Okay. I cannot guarantee that, but I'm just going to try. So click OK, and you can see all the layers are going to be installed. If you go to Boy SVG, you click here, and you get your layers here. So unfortunately, these layers, they were not, they came as not renamed. I'm not sure why this has happened, because when we saved our SVG, we renamed everything. However, we have everything into separate layers. So you can see this warplane, because the original Inkscape, it was warplane. So I'm just going to change it to bow here, okay? So you can see the only things you would need to do is like you'll need to rename your layers. However, everything has been imported separately. So if I hide this, you can see the eye has been hidden. If I hide the hair, with this path, I'm just going to check. Okay, we have path here. I'm not sure why there's this path for. Oh yeah, that was for that ear there. You can see everything has been installed or imported into separate layers. So this is the easiest way to import your SVG file from Inkscape. Now what you could do, you could just go here and convert to bone and start animating or start rigging your character by starting adding bones to your character. Right, while I'm adding bone, thank you for watching. If this tutorial helped you to import SVG from Inkscape as a separate layers using a script, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more animation workflow tips and creative hacks. The character folder and the website for the script are linked in the description box below, so feel free to check them out and follow along. If you've got any question or you want to see more scripting tricks, drop a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep creating and stay inspired. Thank you so much. All right, before I go, this is my other channels, which is called Moho Simple Rig. You can subscribe to this channel. There will be also tutorial video. As you can see, I have started uploading them. However, there will be also full videos which I have used these characters, for example, in a story, in kids' story or anything. So be sure to subscribe to this channel as well. And yeah, if I've got any question, as I said, you can either come here and ask, or you can use the other channel to ask. So thank you so much. Until next time.
Well done. I hope you've enjoyed this nearly hour-long tutorial and picked up some valuable skills along the way. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment box below. I'll be happy to help. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so I can keep creating more lessons for you. And remember, the character file is available for free in the description box, so you can download it and follow along.